Best friend's wedding drama. Told to babysit at her daughter's wedding because of my wheelchair. The shocking truth. Hi, my name is Mia. I'm 31 years old, and I live in a small town in Oregon. My life has always been a mix of challenges and blessings, but I never thought my best friend of 15 years would put me in a position that would make me question our entire friendship. It all started 3 months ago when I received an invitation to the wedding of my best friend, Olivia's daughter, Chloe. Olivia and I had been inseparable since high school. She'd been there for me after the car accident that left me using a wheelchair, and I'd been there for her through her messy divorce. We were more like sisters than friends, and I was thrilled to see her daughter, who I'd watched grow up, getting married. The invitation was stunning. Gold lettering on thick, cream-colored paper. It practically screamed, "No expense spared." I couldn't wait to be part of such a special day, especially since Olivia had always made me feel included despite my disability. A few days after receiving the invitation, Olivia called me. "Mia, I have a favor to ask," she said, her tone a little too cheerful. "Of course," I replied. "Anything for you and Chloe." "Well," she hesitated. "Chloe and I were talking, and we realized we're a little short on hands during the reception. Would you mind helping out a bit? Nothing too intense, just keeping an eye on the kids in the family room." I felt a pang of confusion. "Wait, you mean babysitting?" "Oh, it's not babysitting," she said quickly. "It's more like supervising. You know how some parents like to let loose at weddings. We just thought you'd be perfect for it since, well, you wouldn't be dancing or moving around much anyway." Her words hit me like a slap. I could feel my chest tighten as I tried to process what she just said. "Olivia," I began cautiously, "I was looking forward to celebrating with you, not being stuck in a side room watching kids all night." "Oh, Mia, don't be like that," she said, her voice taking on that overly sweet tone she used when she wanted to smooth over tension. "You'll still be part of everything. You'll be at the ceremony, dinner, and speeches. This is just for the later part of the evening. Plus, the kids love you." I didn't know what to say. Olivia was my best friend, and I didn't want to upset her, but I also couldn't shake the feeling that she was treating me differently because of my wheelchair. "I'll think about it," I said finally. Over the next few weeks, I tried to push the conversation out of my mind. I told myself Olivia didn't mean to hurt me and that maybe I was overreacting. But every time I thought about sitting in that family room while everyone else danced and celebrated, my stomach churned. Then came the bachelorette party. Olivia had planned a small, low-key dinner with her closest friends. I arrived excited to catch up with everyone and celebrate Chloe, but the moment I walked into the restaurant, I could sense the awkwardness. "Mia, you made it," Olivia said, her smile a little too wide. As the evening went on, the topic of the wedding came up. Someone joked about needing to find someone to wrangle all the kids, and Olivia, without missing a beat, said, "Oh, Mia's got that covered." The table went quiet for a moment before someone awkwardly laughed. I felt my cheeks burn with embarrassment. "I haven't agreed to anything yet," I said, trying to keep my voice light. Olivia looked surprised. "Oh, I thought we talked about this?" "We did," I said, my tone sharper than I intended. "And I'm still thinking about it." The rest of the evening was tense, at least for me. Olivia avoided the topic, but I could feel her irritation simmering beneath the surface. 2 weeks before the wedding, Olivia called me again. "Mia, I need an answer," she said, her voice clipped. I took a deep breath. "Olivia, I love you and Chloe, but I can't do it. I want to be there to celebrate with you, not feel like an afterthought or a convenience." There was a long silence on the other end of the line. "I can't believe this," she said finally. "After everything we've been through, you can't do this one thing for me?" "Olivia, this isn't about not helping you. It's about how you're treating me," I said, my voice shaking. "I don't mind helping, but the way you phrased it, like my wheelchair makes me less of a guest, hurt." She scoffed. "You're overreacting. This is Chloe's big day, not about you." Her words stung. "I know it's not about me, but you're asking me to sit on the sidelines like I don't belong. How would you feel if someone treated you like that?" There was another long pause before Olivia spoke again, her voice colder this time. "Fine. Don't come, then. If you can't support Chloe the way we need, maybe you shouldn't be there at all." My heart sank. "Olivia, Are you serious? I don't have time for this, she said sharply. Goodbye, Mia. She hung up before I could respond. The next day, I received a message from Chloe, apologizing for the situation and saying she hoped I'd reconsider. It was clear Olivia had spun the story to make me look like the villain, but I couldn't bring myself to respond. I spent the next week feeling torn. Part of me wanted to go to the wedding anyway, to show Olivia that she couldn't push me away. But another part of me felt humiliated and unwelcome. On the day of the wedding, I sat in my living room, staring at the invitation on the coffee table. I knew I needed to make a choice, one that would either salvage our friendship or set a boundary that I desperately needed. The wedding day came and went, and I didn't attend. It wasn't an easy decision, but I knew it was the right one. I spent the day trying to distract myself, watching movies and scrolling through social media. But around 6 p.m., the posts started rolling in. Pictures of Chloe in her dress, the perfectly decorated venue, Olivia beaming like the proud mother of the bride. I tried not to let it bother me, but it stung. Not because I wasn't there. I'd made peace with that. But because it felt like I'd lost more than just a seat at the wedding. I'd lost my best friend. 2 days later, my phone buzzed with a text from Olivia. Olivia, I hope you're happy. Chloe was upset you didn't come. Everyone was asking where you were. I stared at the message for a long time before responding. I'm sorry Chloe was upset, but you made it clear I wasn't welcome as a guest. I didn't want to be there if I wasn't wanted. Her reply came almost immediately. Olivia, you're twisting things as usual. I asked for one favor, and you made it all about you. Whatever. I guess I know where we stand now. I didn't reply. There was no point. For weeks, I tried to move on. I threw myself into work, spent time with friends, and even started going to a local book club. But Olivia's words haunted me. I kept replaying our conversations, wondering if I'd been too harsh, or if there was something I could have said to make her understand. Then, one evening, I got a call from Chloe. Mia, she said hesitantly, can we talk? I was surprised to hear from her but agreed. We met at a coffee shop the next day. Chloe looked as beautiful as ever, but there was a tension in her expression that I hadn't seen before. I wanted to apologize, she began, stirring her coffee nervously. Mom told me her version of what happened, and, well, I started hearing other things. Other things? I asked, raising an eyebrow. She nodded. My cousin Sarah said Mom was going around telling people you were too self-absorbed to help with the wedding. And Aunt Lisa said Mom made a comment about how your wheelchair would be in the way on the dance floor. My heart sank. She really said that? Chloe looked pained. I didn't want to believe it, but when I thought about how she handled everything, I realized she was trying to make you look bad to cover her own behavior. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my emotions in check. Chloe, I love you like family, but your mom put me in an impossible position. She made me feel like I wasn't enough, like my disability was a burden. I know, Chloe said quietly, and I'm sorry. You deserved better. Her words were a balm to my wounded heart, but they didn't erase the damage Olivia had done. Things with Olivia remained strained. She stopped texting, and I didn't reach out either. I told myself it was for the best, but part of me missed her. Our friendship had been such a big part of my life, and losing it felt like losing a piece of myself. Then, a month later, Olivia showed up at my door. I was shocked to see her. She looked tired, her usual confidence replaced with something that resembled guilt. Mia, she said, her voice soft, can we talk? I hesitated but stepped aside to let her in. She sat on my couch, wringing her hands nervously. I messed up, she said finally. I blinked, not expecting her to admit it so quickly. Go on. She sighed. I was overwhelmed with the wedding, and I took it out on you. I shouldn't have asked you to babysit, and I definitely shouldn't have said those things about your wheelchair. It was wrong, and I'm sorry. Her words hung in the air, heavy with sincerity. Why did you do it? I asked. She looked down, ashamed. I think I was trying to control everything. The wedding, Chloe, even you. I didn't want anything to go wrong, and in the process, I ruined things with you. I studied her, trying to gauge if she truly meant it. I appreciate the apology, I said carefully, but it's not just about the wedding. You treated me like I was less than, Olivia. Like my disability defines me. That hurt more than anything. She nodded, tears welling in her eyes. I know, and I hate myself for it. You're my best friend, Mia. I don't want to lose you. We talked for hours that night, unpacking everything that had happened. It wasn't easy, and it didn't fix everything, but it was a start. Olivia admitted she'd let her own insecurities cloud her judgment, and I told her how much her words and actions had hurt me. By the end of the night, we hugged for the first time in months. I'm not perfect, Olivia said, her voice thick with emotion, but I want to do better. For you and for us. I smiled, tears in my eyes. That's all I needed to hear. After that night, things slowly started to shift. Olivia and I didn't jump straight back into the kind of friendship we'd had before, but we made an effort. We took small steps, sending each other texts checking in, meeting up for coffee, and having deeper conversations about what had happened and how we could move forward. It wasn't easy. There were moments when I felt myself pulling away, moments when the hurt from the past resurfaced, but we both worked hard to rebuild the trust we'd lost. We started talking about the real issues beneath the surface, the unspoken tensions, the subtle ways we'd both let our emotions and insecurities cloud our judgment. One evening, about a month after Olivia's apology, I got a text from her asking if I could meet her at a park near my house. When I arrived, I saw Olivia sitting on a bench, her hands nervously clasped in front of her. I've been thinking a lot, she said when I sat down next to her. About everything, and about how I treated you. I've been working on myself. Mia, I want you to know that I'm committed to doing better, not just for our friendship, but for myself too. I nodded, appreciating the effort she was making. It's not going to be easy, but I'm glad you're being honest. I know it won't happen overnight, she said, but I don't want to lose you again. I never should have put you in that position. You were never just someone to help with the wedding. You're my best friend. I let my fear of losing control get in the way of seeing that. Her words were the healing balm I needed. I realized that I'd been afraid too, not just of losing our friendship, but of opening myself up to the vulnerability of being hurt again. But as we sat there, I felt something change. A weight lifted off my chest. I appreciate you saying that, Olivia, I said quietly, but you need to understand something. My wheelchair doesn't define who I am, and I'm not going to let it define how people treat me. If we're going to rebuild our friendship, it has to be based on respect and understanding, not on pity or assumptions. I get it, she said softly, and I'm ready to learn. I don't want to just be your friend when it's convenient for me, Mia. I want to be there for you, like you've been there for me all these years. There was a brief silence as we both absorbed the magnitude of what had just been said. It was like we were both starting fresh, shedding old layers of misunderstandings and resentment. I'm not perfect either, I said, smiling at her, but I'm willing to try too. Olivia smiled back, and we sat there for a while, just enjoying the peace between us. A few weeks later, Olivia invited me to a dinner at her house to celebrate Chloe's birthday. I was nervous. It was the first time we were truly moving forward, and I wasn't sure how everything would go. But when I walked into her home, I was greeted by a warm hug from Chloe and a welcoming smile from Olivia. The evening felt different, lighter. We shared stories, laughed over old memories, and even reminisced about the wedding drama. But this time, the air between us wasn't heavy with unspoken words or awkward tension. During dinner, Olivia stood up and raised her glass. To friendship, she said, her eyes meeting mine. To second chances. And to learning to be better together. I raised my glass too. To honesty. And to never giving up on each other. That night, as I left Olivia's house, I felt a sense of peace I hadn't experienced in months. It wasn't perfect. Our friendship still had its bumps and bruises, but we were healing, together. A few months later, Olivia reached out with an idea. Mia, she said excitedly over the phone, Chloe wants to throw a party to celebrate your friendship. She said you've both been through a lot, and she wants to do something special for you. I was shocked. She wants to throw a party for me? Yeah, Olivia said. She's been planning it for weeks, and we want you to know that you're always welcome, no matter what. You're part of our family, Mia. Tears pricked at my eyes. It was the gesture I needed, the final piece to the puzzle of our healing. The party was beautiful, and in that moment, surrounded by friends, family, and the people who mattered most, I realized just how far we had come. We weren't the same as we were before, but in many ways, we were stronger. I no longer felt like I was sitting on the sidelines, waiting to be included. I was a part of something real, something built on love, respect, and honesty. And in the end, that was more than enough. As time passed, Olivia and I continued to rebuild our friendship, brick by brick. We learned that sometimes the most important relationships in life are the ones that require the most work, but the payoff, when it's done right, is worth everything. And while we would always have our challenges, I knew that as long as we kept communicating and supporting each other, we would weather any storm. After all, the best friendships don't just survive, they thrive. Maid of honor told to step aside for wedding photos because of my oxygen tank. You won't believe what happened. Hello, my name is Emily. I'm 29 years old, and I live in a small town outside of Chicago. My life has always been a little different from the average person, mostly due to my health conditions. I was born with a rare lung disease that requires me to use an oxygen tank at all times. It's never been something I've hidden, but it's also not something I advertise. I've always felt like I need to prove that I'm more than my condition, but it's hard to ignore when it's so physically present. Anyway, let me get to the point. My best friend Rachel was getting married, and I had been looking forward to this day for months. We've known each other since middle school, and we've been through everything together. I was honored when she asked me to be her maid of honor. There was no way I was going to miss this day. The wedding was supposed to be at this gorgeous venue, a grand hall with sparkling chandeliers, and it was packed with around 80 people. The ceremony was stunning. Rachel looked beautiful in her dress, and the love between her and her fiancé, Jason, was palpable. But things took a turn as we were getting ready for the reception. We were all backstage, getting prepared for the grand entrance when Rachel's mother, Barbara, approached me. Now, I've always gotten along with Barbara, but there's something about her that makes me a little uneasy. She's the type of woman who always wants everything to be perfect, even if it means being a little overbearing. Emily, she said, looking me over with a sharp gaze, I just wanted to let you know that we've made some adjustments to the seating plan for the reception. Oh, what's going on? I asked, trying to hide my confusion. Well, I just spoke with the photographer, and we were discussing the layout for the photos. He's a professional, and he's quite particular about how the shots are framed, Barbara explained, as if I should know all about it. Okay, I'm not sure I follow. She hesitated, then leaned in, lowering her voice. The oxygen tank. It's going to be a bit of a distraction for the photos, don't you think? I blinked. A distraction? Barbara, I can't exactly leave it behind. It's, vital to my health. She looked uncomfortable, then shifted her weight from one foot to the other. I understand, but for the photos, I think it might be better if you step aside for the group shots. Maybe we can take individual photos of you later, without the tank in the frame? I stared at her in disbelief. I knew she wanted the photos to be perfect, but this? Asking me to step aside, to not be included with the other bridesmaids for pictures? It was beyond what I was willing to do. I could feel my face flush. Rachel didn't say anything about this, I said firmly. This isn't about the photos, it's about making sure I'm included and treated the same as everyone else. I'm not going to hide behind my condition for anyone's convenience. Barbara seemed taken aback by my response, and for a moment, I wondered if she might reconsider. But instead, she sighed and said, I know you're upset, but we've already made these arrangements, and you don't want to cause a scene on Rachel's big day, do you? The weight of her words sank in. The last thing I wanted to do was create tension on Rachel's wedding day, but I also didn't want to be treated like an afterthought. I'll think about it, I said, though I had no intention of agreeing. I left the room, my hands shaking, and I went to find Rachel. She was with her bridesmaids, all getting ready for the big entrance. I walked over, trying to keep my composure. Rachel, I need to talk to you about something, I said, my voice a little tight. She turned to me with a smile, her eyes sparkling. What's up, Em? Are you ready to go? You look gorgeous. I nodded but couldn't mask the tension in my expression. About the photos. Barbara said something about me not being included in the group shots because of my oxygen tank. Rachel's face immediately shifted from excitement to concern. What? She said I should step aside for the photos, so they don't have to deal with the tank in the frame. Rachel's eyes narrowed, and I could see the frustration building. She said that? Yes, I said quietly, feeling a mix of anger and sadness. I know she wants everything to be perfect, but I don't want to be treated like a problem. Rachel shook her head. No way, Em. You're my maid of honor. You're a part of these photos. I don't care what Barbara or the photographer says. I felt a wave of relief wash over me, but my unease remained. Rachel had always had my back, but I still feared this could cause some conflict with her mom. As the night went on, things escalated. The reception was beautiful. Guests were laughing. Music was playing, and I could see how happy Rachel and Jason were. But when it came time for the group photos, Barbara once again approached me, this time more forcefully. Emily, I really think you should step aside for the photos, she said with a strained smile. It'll be better this way. Trust me. I felt my blood boil, and without thinking, I turned to her and said, you don't get to decide how I'm included. I'm part of this wedding, Barbara, and I'm part of these memories. I'll be in the photos, and that's final. The words hung in the air, and I could feel the tension rising. Barbara opened her mouth to argue, but I could see Rachel coming towards us, her expression fierce. Mom, that's enough, Rachel said, standing firmly. Emily is my best friend, and she's going to be in those pictures. I won't have you making her feel like she's less important. Barbara was stunned into silence, and the whole room seemed to pause. I didn't know what would happen next, but I knew Rachel had just made it clear where she stood. Later that evening, after the drama had settled, I overheard some guests whispering about the situation. Some were critical of me for causing a scene, while others said I had every right to stand my ground. I tried to shake it off, but the whispers still stung. As I sat in the corner, reflecting on everything that had happened, Rachel came over and sat beside me. I'm sorry about my mom, she said softly, taking my hand. She can be well, she's complicated. But I want you to know that you are always welcome in my life, just as you are. Oxygen tank and all. I smiled, feeling a wave of relief wash over me. Thanks, Rachel. It means the world to me. The rest of the night went on without incident. We danced, laughed, and made memories. Real memories that didn't need to be altered for anyone's comfort. As the reception came to a close, I realized something. I wasn't just standing up for myself. I was standing up for anyone who feels they have to hide a part of who they are to fit in. I wasn't going to let anyone, not even the people I loved, make me feel like I was a burden. And for the first time in a long while, I felt like I was exactly where I needed to be.